Before we are going to come to our main topic of Vinyapti, the non-information or non-informative, depends on how to translate. And we still have to finish the derived material first. So for a very simple revision, so we actually, in a different tradition might start to teach different elements first, but in all of the Sarvastivada Abhidharma school, we started to teach this Abhidharma. We started from this material, and then we move on like the non-material. That means the what we call this mental part aspect. Okay, so in the material, we know that the first material we need to understand is called the Mahabuddha, meaning the great element, right? And we also learned that why it is called the great element, because it's a most primal material. And it's also this kind of primary material exists in all type of material. That's why it's called the great element. Okay, so that's the most simple down-to-earth definition. Of course, even for that also, the word what is called the Buddha, and then the main elements, because it has the meaning of holding it or grounding something. Okay, so and that's also been defined as why it is called so-called element, or in the original language mean the Buddha. Okay, Buddha. Okay, and beside these so-called these four elements, what are these four elements? I'm sure you know the earth element, the wind element, the fire element, and the water element. Okay. But we must understand in the Sarvastivada, these four elements, they all function, and then you could feel it directly. And then we are going to talk that a bit later, about especially with regard to the spastra. That means the tangible touching. Okay, so we are going to discuss it later. And but then, by the way, I need to say in the Theravada is very interesting in a way, but they define that actually the water element it's not able to feel it. Okay, they have their own theory. This is just a note, a subsidiary note. I mean, in case you're interested. All right, and then beside these so-called these Greek elements, and then those based on the Greek elements been produced by the Greek element in Abhidharma, in Sarvastiva Abhidharma, only recognize 11 of it. Of course, in Theravada they recognize 24. Okay. But in Sarvastivada is only 11 of it. So which are these 11? I'm sure if you remember, just for the sake of revision. So the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the tongue. No, sorry, I think it's wrong. The eyes, the nose, the tongue, and then the ear, and as well as the physical body, and then also the object. So I think in the notes I did just give a very simple, and then you have so-called the derived material. They have 11 altogether, and then you also have, beside these 5 senses organs, and then we have this senses object called Pancha Artha. Okay, so that means the 5 senses. What are they? The visible sight, the sound, the smell, the taste, and then now the tangible contact. Okay, and then the 11th one, which is we are going to dive off later on, which is actually the very unique of Sarvastivada idea, is called the non-information. We are going to talk that later. Now, so then, and of course, even with regard to so-called the derived matter, what does it mean by derived matter already? If you have a question, please raise your hand. Okay, but if you the derived matter basically mean it's secondary matter. It's the first, the base matter, the ground matter is the 4 elements. And then the base matter are 11. We first look at these first 5 first. I don't think everybody have a question. But you have to understand, even among the Sarvastivada school, actually, even for the secondary matter, not necessarily all schools agree upon. Okay, some of the, not necessarily all, even they come from the Sarvastivada Abhidharma tradition, not necessarily all, even they learn from that and they agree upon there is the derived matter. Some even reject the existence of the derived matter. And in other words, for example, one of the very famous called Mahabuddha and Buddha Deva, 觉天, okay, So Buddha Deva, he completely rejected this, the validity of the existence of the derived matter. Okay. Well, I find this is very interesting. This is just not necessarily in the text, but just give you a little bit more information and make this study more interesting too. The reason why it's, if you study, we also talked this already, when you talk about the derived matter, you start to talk about the 5 senses, right? The 5 senses. And when you talk the 5 senses, say, take the eye as an example, like the first one, the eye. The eye sense organ. So if you take this as the derived matter, which is, in other words, mean as a very substantial matter, and then you started to have to observe the eye, and with the eye, you have to understand, this is what I'm sure in the last few classes we talked that already, thank you. We mentioned that already, and then you have to mention the eyes, the iris, maybe there's a center of the eyes, you could able to observe the eye, and then you must be able to see so-called anu brahmana rupa, right? A prasada rupa means the little kind of dust, bright dust, elements. Bright dust. Sometimes we translate as an atom. So I don't think that only atom, because they have Sarvasivada also have very confusing about the atom. So the first one, anyway, say for this, because don't want to draw the very complicated first, have the basic ideas first. Anyway, so they also believe when they're in the eyes elements there, you could see the iris. From the iris, then you'll be able to discern there is the prasada rupa, mean the, I think, I translate is, I forgot. Subtle matter. Subtle matter, right? In subtle matters, but actually original translation in Chinese is called 近色, okay? So, 近色, actually it's referred to something bright, okay? Because according to his belief, when you meditate, if you observe the iris, and then you'll be able to see their dust, kind of dust-like things floating. And then the dust-like thing floating is they have the color one and without color. No, not color. The bright one and non-bright one, okay? The bright one believed to be like the active one. The non-bright one is a kind of rupa, but I don't think that's a problem. They don't say what, but they only focus on the bright one. And then focusing on the bright ones, so you can see they are arising and falling, but they are a bunch of it. And then when then you try to imagine that you're looking at something, and then you could see this bright one have reaction, okay? Well, according to this is, let's say, the so-called orthodox Sarvastivada would believe that they are the secondary material, because then they have to also have to believe there is something called this prasada rupa, or what you call subtle materials, okay? However, Buddha Deva, for example, as one interesting part, he thinks this actually, when you talk about this so-called derived material, it is just almost like it's so-called for the sake of languages, kind of what we call not necessarily as as the ultimate truth. That's something you could really have to base on to practice, something like this. But of course, in the text they don't say the word practice, because in text, they assume you have to practice already. So something you have to base on. So in a way, in other words, mean they agree that there is Buddha mentioned in the text about the eyes, the 5 senses, and then the 5 objects, right? The 5 artha. Remember in the notes I did say the panja artha mean the 5 objects. So, however, they do not take that as the real. They will take that as it's just like what we call a language, which is just for the sake of language, not necessarily that an object to be understood. So, like Buddha Deva, for example, interesting. So they only accept the Greek elements as the ultimate element and the element for understanding. I myself find this is interesting. The reason is why, because even nowadays, in the present time, even though in what my understanding, there's nobody you should know they take this the Sarvastivada Abhidharma or to practice as the completely like a Sarvastiva system. But of course in Theravada you do have people practice meditation. Either they take part of the the elements from Abhidharma to practice, or either they believe they take the full part of it to practice. And then you have some other school, they don't really actually take that Abhidharma, even though they learn Abhidharma, but they don't take the Abhidharma elements to practice. So this reflects like a modern time. So, and then they only think that actually these 5 senses derive matter, even they never say it strictly, but when you practice, they never ask you to look at the eyes and ears, you know, they only ask you to know the touching, to feel it. They never wanted to you look at it, they only ask you to observe the great elements, which is, even in Sarvastivada, actually happened, and he was believed to be one of the great master that called Buddha Deva, and he was not thinking this is important for the practice. Or in theory mean he rejected this as the real material, so-called the derived material. I mean, this is just for... Huh?
What period is it? What era?
Oh, it's certainly before Christ already, because that many mentioned in the Mahavipasa, you know, the great exposition text. And then the Mahavipasa text, of course, we know that it was being composed by the 1st century, right? And of course, and not only that, but you do, well, anyways, for sure that in the 1st century you have it there already. You have this, the Buddha Deva mentioned. But Buddha Deva actually, I'm not sure, I haven't really delved in so much information how long he was. So certainly he was not the 1st century master, he was before that, okay? So, okay. So that lets you understand also, not necessarily all of Sarvastivada Abhidharma also believe the derived matter as the real object. Okay, they take that as only for the language sake and of the. In other words, mean it's not something you need to practice and just directly have to feel it and or understand it. Okay, so. Yeah, for those who've been practicing meditation, other meditation they know. So like there are certain school even in Theravada, they only ask you to focus on the 4 elements. They don't ask you to focus on, you know, look at the eyes and the ears and the nose and how they are. They don't. They just only have the 4 elements, and they don't think that's important, and they don't find that it's. In other words, you could say in our language, if you put it in old Buddhist language and Abhidharma language, I mean, they are not the real one, you know. So just, but the only real is the 4 elements. Okay.
What do you think? Do you think it's?
No, it's not. Well, just know what I think. I think actually that they serve the same purpose that we are going to touch on in the future. So basically, I think that's something I can say is perhaps the Buddha Deva and also even the modern practice also, if they take the 4 elements as a real one, because that was only sufficient for you. And because that is something you can, according to the Sarvastivada or even Theravada, they are Theravada practitioners. They are not actually Sarvastivada. But I want to say that they would take that as sufficient for you to understand the material already, because they're the ultimate. Those are not the ultimate. So since they are not ultimate, in other words, 不是圣义地的, so they are not the ultimate truth. So they have to disregard as them. Okay. So in theory, that's how they say. But in practice, of course, you just only have to observe the 4 elements. You don't have to like focus on the eyes and see whether the eye can feel something and see something, you know, and then whether there has any rupa there. Even it's interesting. I knew that it's certain masters say if he observe that, he's not going to deny that something you might be able to observe, but he just only say, don't look at it. It's not important, you know. That's how you can see the different approach of it. Well, if we put it in the language, in the textual language, not important might be, as like Sarvastivadi, like Buddha Deva argue, because they are not real. Okay, so it's just different opinions of it. Okay, so you have questions?
Yes,
yeah.
It sounds as though it's somewhat analogous to the idea of observing the mind, observing the thoughts. We have thoughts, and the thoughts travel, they move, they change, and what we do sometimes is observe the fault of the thoughts. Bhikkhu Bodhi gave us instructions that on one occasion to do nothing in meditation but observe the mind. This sounds like an analogy of that.
Yeah, it is. But then, I mean, at least that subject is it is subject on the mental part. We are going to deal with it also in the later. And how actually Saraswativada understand the mental, that means the mind aspect. You know, we are still dealing with the material. Okay, that's matter. Okay. Okay, and okay. Now, of course, the other one, it's we also learned that when you say about the root, the derived matter, there are 11 of it, right? But it's very much understandable that from the first to the 10th, you know, that means the primary sense organs and then the sensory objects, right? So altogether, you have 10. But then the 11 ones called the non-information, which is, I think, baffle quite a lot of people, you know, and it used to be baffle me too, but not necessarily I can understand fully, but at least I solved some other problem, some kind I can share with you later. Okay, now besides this, we must also understand when you talk about this, according to this Saraswativada system, okay, and besides this also the subtle matter for the eyes, we must also understand, like if you allow, we back to the page 37 or the verses, I don't know how to call that as a line, or verses may be easier, 1.2.2, that means 122, right? And then we just scan through a little bit because otherwise we have a week break, you know, you might be forget. And I don't want you only involved in Theravada Abhidharma. Forget about Theravada Abhidharma at the moment. Try to, and now you have to go to the mindset, like, you know, you're almost like you study this the Chinese medicine and then you study Western medicine. Okay, maybe that's easier for you. Sometimes they might be go together, but yeah, you have to switch your mind. Okay, okay, 1.2, So the visible, we must understand according to the so-called the Panja Artha, I mean the sensory object, and the object called the visible side or visible object, so should be understood as a color and also the shapes, okay? But actually, the color is highly, page 73 in the book, page 73, yeah. Everyone get it? Okay. Page 73, look at, when I say the verses, actually it's not verse. I don't know, anyone have a best suggestion for me? Maybe paragraph 122, okay, 1.2.2. So we must understand when we say that there are this, the visible side, and then the visible will be referred to the colors and the shapes, okay? But we also, I mean, just for a little information, not necessarily you have to remember all this. The information is, even though the color was highly accepted by all the Saraswativada school, but for the shape, actually, like Vasubandhu, who write the Abhidharma Kosa, denied that actually that should be included the samstara, the shape, as in as the category for the visible, you know, visible side. Okay, but it's not important. They do have a big argument. Okay, that's why they disagree. I just give you a little information first. Okay. All right, and then also must understand among them what color they mention 12 kind of color, right? But sometimes 12 they mention actually 11 kinds of color. Sorry, you said 11, I think. 12 kind of color. Sorry, yeah, 12 kind of color. Yeah, that's right. And then 1, 2, 2, 1, and those are just only mention what kind of color. What are they? Okay, I guess we don't have to mention. And then, but then the shape also, how many kind of shape there?
8.
Yeah, 8 kind of shapes there, right. Mm. All right. So that's how I think we last, oh no, we have one more way talk. And then the second, actually, this last time we mentioned also, we have discussed that already. Second sensory object is the sound. And then the sound, basically you have two types, you have to understand sound by two ways, you know. And one way is that perceivable and unperceivable. But of course here to translate, you can look at the line, it's a paragraph, sorry, paragraph 1, 2, 3 and 1.2.3. I will say just 1, 2, 3. Okay, you know, whenever they say 1, it refers to elements, okay, to chapter 1, okay? So you understand how it divides? Because 1 means refer to chapter 1. So you know when I say 1.2.3 mean the chapter 1, the second topic, and then among the second topic, because second topic here means the derived material, okay? And then you have the tree. Here, it's you have sometimes that's how we have a long discussion last time. But I think maybe easier, like some people suggest, maybe easier to translate, even though we translate as appropriated and unappropriated, but better maybe translate as perceivable or unperceivable. Okay. And then with this, we also basically divide them into these basically with the beings or not beings, you know. I'm sure that it's easier to say the beings mean anything is have a living things there according to the Buddhist concept, and which is non-beings mean like a nature thing, like the forest, the tree, the water, you know, the streams, the river, and other non-beings. And also among that also then you also have to say agreeable and disagreeable. Okay. In other words, if you want to put it in the practice, it is mean what you have to focus is on it. Firstly, focus that something. Let's say I hear something, and that you must know that something is it the beings or not being, is agreeable or not agreeable, okay, and it's perceivable and non-perceivable. Well, of course, non-perceivable maybe you don't hear it, but you know that there's something maybe in your thought. I mean, this is strange, maybe. This is, I know, it's strange for Theravada way of perspective. Don't forget later. You always have to understand, to Sarvastivada school, anything can come to your mind, that is something exists, okay? Okay? Anything that will come to your mind is exist. Say that, I don't hear the sound, but I know there's sound out there, and I don't like that kind of sound, and I like that kind of sound. And that kind of sound could be human or non-human, okay? That is still exist, okay? But I mean, this is Sarvastivada. But I think for practical reason, maybe they do have many. Because how do you explain? You sit, you don't hear the sound, but that's talk about like your mind is so clear in your meditation state, but somehow your mind suddenly think they must be the sound. No, you don't use the word must be. That means the sound of the river running, right? And you know you don't like it because you feel disturbed or whatever. So that is something exists, right? Okay. I mean, for the material part, I'm talking, okay, that's the material part. If you want to divide it, that is rupa. That is, of course, more precise mean that's the derived rupa, okay?
But sometimes it's a natural sound. Did you sometimes hear the ringing sound or the high pitch?
Yeah, that is also a sound. Yeah. So maybe you could call that, then that's true. So it could be agreeable and not agreeable, but and it also must be something. The sound is, say you could call that as the natural one, you know, non-being.
Caused by the great elements, because it could be caused by internal heat.
Yeah, but then there's a non-element too.
There's such a thing as silence, because you can sometimes hear your heartbeat too.
Yeah, then
there's no such thing as silence.
the right moment that when you hear something, the heartbeat, if it in Sarvastivada Abhidharma, actually even in all practice the same. It's just only different way to categorize it. So in Sarvastivada, the way to categorize it, when you hear that kind of beating, that beating is a sound, right? So and then, but that's it's not in Theravada, but in the Sarvastivada, might be, I guess, they will ask you to think that is the non-being, and then whether you agree or not agreeable. Yeah. Okay.
It's
so
hard.
that's the way that you. No, actually, this is important. That's the way they believe that you
so
are.
It's not being because it's just heartbeat.
No, I think that we must understand. This is my point of view. Must understand the reason why they study Abhidharma is not for satisfy whatever scientific reason or whatever. It's like, we talk about 5 aggregates. So when you meditate on the 5 aggregates, this is a rupa, right? The 5 aggregates and the matter aggregate. When you talk about matter aggregate, when your mind, what does mean by the mind in the right object, okay? And this is what they say. When you know the sound, we only think, oh, my heart is beating. Then you start to worry, my heart is something that's. If you know the heart is the non-being, and then you hear something, and then you just know it, and you like it or you don't like it. That's what they did to ask you to discern.
It's only the human
Yeah.
sound, the voice, and
Not human,
considered
beings.
beings. Okay.
It can be
It
animals,
could be
right?
devas or
Yeah,
animals.
and devas or what.
Okay, animals and insects.
How about sometimes you hear a sound keeps singing in your mind?
Then that's beings. That could be you.
And my own.
Yeah, but you're not going to project, is that my voice or what voice you know is a being sound. And that's how you maybe discern that as a sound. And then that's your ear can hear. So in other words, mean
My inner voice.
Yeah.
I mean, inner.
your inner voice will be in different questions. I think that will be in Sarvasti where we will talk, because inner voice can be your determination. I think they call Jadana, and also sometimes the inner voice. So that's why it depends on how you define the. I mean, but if you take that as a rupa, you can take that as a rupa, the inner voice as a rupa, then it's a rupa. Okay. Okay, that's anyway, Sarvastiva, the way of thinking. Yeah. Then you will solve your problem, maybe again, propensity. Propensity means it will solve your problem of thinking further what it is. You don't. You just exactly understand this is just a rupa. So, sometimes, when people do meditation, they understand that concept. Okay. Okay. Now we're back to the smell now, which I think, have we done the smell? No. Okay. I would just roughly just say that of course, then when you talk the smell, there are three kinds of smell, right? And then that means the good and bad, and then the so-called neutral smell. Okay. Then we also know that actually the smell nourishes the Greek elements of the sense faculty. Basically mean it's actually helping you. It's called helping the Greek elements. It's mean. But later on you'll know what does it mean, because when you talk about the touch, we know. So, and then it's believed that basically mean if you eat something, if you feel happy, you are actually helping. Actually, if you smell something, if you feel happy, and you are almost like increasing that kind of smell. Okay. And if that's what does damage to them, or you could say that if it does that disagree with you, and then that's called the bad smell. Okay. And then if you don't know the smell, and then call the neutral smell. Okay. Now I think that's easier. So in other words, we must understand in meditation, but that is also called as the form, as the matter. When you smell something good, it's a matter. Smell something is not good, it's a matter. If you don't know the smell, you just maybe your nose got stuck or whatever, got stuck, and you have what do you call cold, stuffing nose, and then so you couldn't smell anything. That is also the rupa. So people don't know. They always ask. They say if they say they smell something and they say I don't smell anything, they start to like they are not doing good meditation. Okay, you don't smell something, but you know you're smelling. It's also rupa. Okay. Neutral, you don't know anything. It's still, yeah. So you could find this very down-to-earth practice, okay? So there's the Greek elements, and we're going to talk something more about 4 Greek elements, but then, because 4 Greek elements, you might not able to see it at the moment, because it said that very clearly you don't see it. But you do feel it. That's why we'll come to this spasha, okay? Now, and that means the tangible touching. Now, we understand. So far, I don't think you have questions. So remember, this is very important. Remember, this all according to the Abhidharma system. It's not the psychology system or any other system, but in the Sarvasya Abhidharma system, these all are the rupa, okay, the form, the material, okay. So that means you can say simple. When you smell something, you know that you practice the mindfulness on the material, okay. That's still matter, right? And then when you come to this, the paragraph 125, okay, 1.2.5, that's about the taste. You must understand actually, according to scientists nowadays, they say that our tongue can taste more than 2,000 kind of thing. But I'm sure that in Chinese language, there's few ways of describing the taste. And I know in Cantonese also, sometimes even the description of the taste, sometimes they might be even more than the Mandarin, okay? But I'm sure even in Taiwanese also sometimes the description, because Cantonese people like to eat, I'm always joking that. So it's the same thing like, when it is said it's like a snow, right? They say that the people, Eskimo people, they have eight types, more than 8 types of the describing the snow, yeah, because they live in that kind of weather, right? So, but I take it this way, even though Abhidharma, I don't think that Abhidharma is so foolish, they don't know there's more than that taste, but it's a way they find, that's because mostly they are trying to faithful to the sutra, so they will just gather from the sutra, and that's how only mentioned in the sutra, so that may be sufficient for us to do meditation, that might be the main purpose, okay? So, but then, okay, just understand, in this system, so Sarasvativada, the taste only divided into 6 types: the sweet, the sour, the salty, the pungent, and bitter, and astringent. Okay, so in other words, mean if you are practice meditation or you are for the Sarasvativada system, you don't have to think too much. You just only have to know it's pungent, it is sweet, this is salty, or that's enough for you to discern, to understand what does it mean by the tongue organ and the object of the tongue. That means by the taste.
It's helping us to not cling to the patch, kind of.
It could be.
Cool.
Yeah, it could be. Then you start, in a way, you first learn to discern what is meant by the matter of the tongue and the object. The object will be that 6 kind of taste. Okay. Then it narrowed a very simple way for you. But you can say I find more. But here is no scientific proof, right? It is just if you can discern the 6 type of taste, and then like you say, then your mind will be focused, and your mind will be perhaps not distracted, and then you only live in the right Dharma, present to the, confronting the Dharma, present to the Dharma, present yourself to the Dharma. Okay, and so don't ask me more about. I don't mean don't talk about that 2,000 tastes, but you don't have to do that because you are not practice only for the tongue. Okay. Then you need to discern 2,000. Maybe I think if you are really, really a high advanced meditator, and then you have time, and then so you are the tongue-lology, I don't know. But logy, I don't know. Anyway, so you can maybe try to discern more. But here just to try to discern the 6 and it help it enough. Okay. Now, of course, it did say, okay, now what about the tangible? Okay. The tangible are 7, okay, when you look at still page 75, right, paragraph 126, mean 1.2.6, the 7 items we form part of tangibles. Remember this first, okay. Called the Sprasta Vaikadesa, okay. The smooth is 1, the coarse is 1, heaviness is 1, lightness is 1, coldness is 1, hunger is 1, and thirst is 1. That's interesting. So the tangible, I think it's very down to earth for the kids. Maybe that's easier for them because you don't want them to be too complicated. And then say, how do you feel? Learn just to feel. There's a smooth, there's a coarse, there's a heavy, there's a light, there's a cold, and there's a hunger, and there's a thirst. Okay. But of course, in Theravada they don't describe in this way. Okay. But in this system, when you say the body, first learn to discern. There's a coldness there, there's a smoothness there, there's a heavy, there's a lightness, and there's a hunger, and there is the thirst. Okay, and then I think here they didn't have it, right? I'm going to say that later. Just okay. So it also further define what does mean by the soft. I mean, what does mean by the smooth? The soft means smooth. Sorry, the soft means smooth. So in other words, actually means agreeable, tangible. Okay, I think this is important because people like when they do meditation, they sit there and they feel that the shoulder is heavy, and they think this is heavy. And actually, mostly when you think that's heavy, is unagreeable. So that's why here is said that very clear in the second one. What is meant by hard? What is hard on rough is said to be coarse. Okay. Or he didn't say that it not agreeable, but I think I would take it like, when you say the soft is agreeable, but then the hard would be not agreeable one, okay, hardness, coarseness. Actually, I won't say hard, it was a coarseness. the roughness, you know. You understand what I mean? So that's a smooth, I mean something soft. I don't know, maybe not to translate smooth, but that's how the word is it. Slush, now what? I mean having the nature of something soft, okay. Having the nature of something smooth maybe, I don't know. Anyway, look, that Sanskrit word, if you look at the smoothness, it means that something it have that kind of nature, okay. And the second one, that's why they translate the coarseness, they mean have the nature of like rough, you know. And then have the nature of like, you know, heavy, I mean called heaviness. And have the nature of like, you know, you feel lighted, so called the lightness. And then the cold, the same, cold is just cold, okay. And then you have the hunger and then the thirst, okay. All right, do you have any question up to here so far? But if you have the elaboration, they have a further elaboration too. Let me see whether I could find it right away, but in case you are interested. But anyway, do you have any question first? Yeah.
The coldness here, one of the great element is the temperature, right? So this is just regarding the body feeling.
This is actually okay, that's a good question. No, here, everything that derived matter, right? Yeah. All are produced from the Greek elements, okay. And when you feel the roughness, and then the coldness, for example, say the cold, when you feel the cold, it's because it's a physical body had the contact, have the tangible feelings. Okay, oh, I won't say feelings, sorry, the tangible object. So, and that's how that's how the Abhidharma in Sarvasya Abhidharma divided this way. So here, it's not going to say because the coldness is the fire element, but actually, but that's I think, and then it's very complicated here a little bit. I don't know. I couldn't find where is it now, but I certainly, if I can find later, yeah, here. So he say, when you say the tangible, especially when you look at Mahavibhasa, if in case you're interested, look at the Mahavibhasa. I mean the text is volume 27. Okay, if Tipitaka, this Taisho Tipitaka, Dazheng number 27, page 664. But in the future, when I finish all this, I'm going to make it all for you because I need to translate. That's take long time, right? Because unfortunately, class is not in Chinese, but all these texts mostly in Chinese. The challenging thing is to translate, okay? Otherwise, it's very easy. I just paste it there and let you read it. But anyway, it's also, according to Mahavibhasa, it's also said that, I mean, in case you're interested, I said that Mahavibhasa, Dabipo Sauron, okay? Volume 27, page 664C, okay, ABC. I didn't have it here. I'm just giving, but just of additional information. Oh, okay. So, sorry, for the additional information. The additional information is that it said firstly, the smoothness and the roughness, because those are actually disagree with you. Okay, I don't know. It's say that. Okay, yeah. I think maybe this is not. Let me look. Maybe that's easier to say this. He said that there are some other teachers say that now when then there's a water element and the fire elements are prominent, so you feel the smoothness. Okay.
That is in 1.2.26. Smoothness is also from.
Oh yeah. You have it there. Good. That's good. Sorry. Thank you. Then if you have it there, then look at it. Yeah.
And coldness is states of the water and wind element.
So anyway, so in other words, I mean generally, if you can see the footnote, they have a footnote there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Page 133.
Page 133 then.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it goes to 34.
Good, good. I forget that. Yeah. Footnote number what?
34.
1, 2, 2.
Okay, 34.
1, 2, 6.
I mean 43, I'm sorry.
1, 2, 6, 2.
It's 43, and it starts on the bottom of 133.
What page?
Oh, that's very long.
Page 133.
133, and then up to 134. But anyway, it's a long to read that. But I just say simply, it means it's some suggest that actually to understand why this it is smoothness is because when the water and the fire is prominent, when then why you understand is the roughness because the earth element and the wind element as the prominent, okay, and why it's a lightness because the fire and the wind element as a prominent too, and why it's heavy because the water and the earth element as the prominent one. So I guess that's how it's. So that's why they even further explain that because the fire element and the water element is not seized due to that reasons, so you feel the bodily is light, right? Mm-hmm. That means the fire and remember the fire and the wind element it become prominent. Sorry, the water, fire and the wind element become prominent. You feel light. Okay, wind is light. The fire is also light. The fire elements, right? So if those two things together, if you feel that two things together, anyway, these two become prominent feature. Don't forget, four elements always there, but it become prominent. That's right. When it become prominent, and then you feel the light. However, when the person die, because the fire element gone and no more breath, no more wind, right? It's gone. That's why it's heavy. Okay. They even use this to understand it. That part.
It becomes earth.
Huh?
It becomes earth.
No, four elements is always there. Still, when a person dies, four elements is there, but it's just only the wind element, say the breath, right? And then also the temperature. Basically, he didn't say it's completely gone. It's just like it's not functioning. Of course, the main thing why function your breath well, ultimately you will learn why we have four elements is because our consciousness. Anyway, that's another topic. When the consciousness no more sustain your physical body, and then we all that you have to explain it because normally people when they die, right, the body getting heavier, right? Why? I mean, according to this, they explain it because the wind element and then the fire elements are gone. So that's why it's become that's their science anyway. Okay, all right. So maybe it's just for further information. For example, when the water and then the wind element there become prominent, so you do feel cold. I'm not sure, but I do know that actually my understanding. I do know when some meditator, if they know quite good in four elements, and I do know that. So if they feel something, they can change it. So they feel that the way to look at the elements, okay, and maybe actually that's interesting. I never thought about that. So I only think about usually when we have coldness, and then we think it's not cold, it's hot, and you don't feel that cold, right? But it looks like here, because we also understand you feel the coldness and hotness. You feel the hot and coldness actually is due to your, if you put it in Abhidharma system, it is you are still practicing the body and the object as the tangible object, right? So what is the tangible object? The coldness and the heaviness. So maybe if you that time try to see the elements, the four elements more prominent, say because you could change. I mean that's for sure. I know. According in Theravada, even it's true. So at first you have to first learn how to discern what is the matter and what is the mental, right? And after when you know the mental very well, you do see that sometimes the mental you want to observe the matter in such a way that our matter will become that way. And this is how you start to understand they are interrelated. Okay, so you will not think they are two different entities. or dichotomy two entity, then they're interrelated. Okay, so and what the matter become that, and then your consciousness will understand what they are, right? So they're interrelated. You know what I'm saying? No. Say if I say the simple version first. Say that if I feel hot, and then I just change it like, it's not hot, it's cold. Then I feel cold, right? In meditation, for example, the hotness is certainly is the, well, in a different tradition, different understanding. But anyway, the hotness is the earth element, okay? But then in the Sarvastivada understand the hotness, we don't have a hotness, say the coldness, which is opposed to that, the coldness. And actually that one is the tangible object, okay? And then if you use your mind to think that is not, let's say, maybe easier to say heavy, and then that is not heavy, that's light, right? And then become light to you, right? I'm sure you know that that's possible. Nobody questioned me that, but it is, yeah. And then you're able to discern, you change it. Then also, the moment that when you change an object into like a lightness, understand as a lightness, and then your mind start feel agreeable, mostly, right? And you feel a different sensation. Now, that means the matter also change you, right? So this, of course, then later when you learn the dependent origination, they have a lot of talk about that. But generally means then that's at least the primary or the very basic fundamental understanding of dependent arising, because they dependent to each other. Okay. Okay.
Tibetan monks actually do a lot of the tantric yoga. People can actually through breathing, you can actually, Tibetans actually do it out in the snow in the mountains. They're just not wearing anything. They put a wet cloth and they have to meditate. And I think it has to do with these four elements, but also depending on how much air you take in and out, with like a furnace. So you can control with your breathing and metabolism, you can raise the temperature really high to dry it, or you can make yourself cold so that you can have developed
I know
through the four elements.
Actually, this is.
I've seen some.
No, you don't have to see. I did that in the past. Now I'm so bad now.
Let's try.
I said that already when I was in Nepal. The first time I went to Nepal, and I didn't, because I'm from a tropical country, and then I live in the tropical country in Sri Lanka, and I never knew what is meant by the four season, right? And so-called the winter. I don't have concept. I only have the visual concept, what they are. And then somehow I was not very happy in a way. They were not like I have a huge not happy. I just not a little not happy. I thought I maybe need to travel. So and I check my money. Oh, I still have enough money. I can go to travel to India and Nepal, because I have never been to India and Nepal. That was the first time. So I went to India, and of course from there, that time you never. Well, now I cannot imagine myself, but that time I was really like like a so-called Greek monk in those days, because I have only one bag, nothing else, just one bag, and I even forget to bring my robe. I just one bag, and of course I have a little money with me and my passport. That's all. And I travel. Imagine now I always travel with lots of things. And I went to it.
More baggage. Okay.
Yeah, and of course and also thanks to no internet also, you never thought of search for hotel. You have nothing, and I just thought fine, I will go there, and I just know people telling me that place is cheaper than Sri Lanka. That's why I know. Then I knew, because I know how is living cost in Sri Lanka, so I thought that my money is sufficient. If it's not enough, I would just come back, And I definitely knew there's some money I need to prepare that I can get a ticket and come back. And of course, I go to ask information, how to go there, how much it will be charged, find the train and all this. Okay, anyway, I want to put the story short. That time I live, sometimes I stay in the train station. I sleep there overnight. Sometimes, of course, I find a very, very cheap hotel to stay. You can see there's a lot of cockroach on the floor, flying around. And it doesn't matter. It's just like my friends, going. And but now I find it very difficult to accept. That's how we've been spoiled conceptually. And I sleep in the train. I don't find anything, and because now they may be better. In those days, the train delay is very normal, and you say 2 hours delay. Okay, you sleep. Okay, does somebody wake you up about the time? Okay, and then again delay. Can go to. So anyway, now and then at the end, I went to Nepal. Of course, actually, yeah, I didn't go to Lumbini actually. That time I knew Lumbini I need to travel longer because it's hard to change a bus and all this sort of thing. And I'm so bad in direction. I can't roughly know where they are. That's enough for me. So I went to Nepal. I never know it's so cold. And they just have one robe. And it was, I think it was November or December. November, something like that. I was so cold. And I think, wow. And of course, I still, I think sometimes you just don't bother. I just don't bother. I just know cold. Then I always remind myself, it's hot, hot, warm, warm. So I'm fine, at least. But the problem is not that. I stay in the French temple, actually, and the temple there, of course, is very poor and no any facility. You cannot, and I have a habit in Sri Lanka already. One day I must normally take 3 days or three showers, 3 times. In India, I don't have that luxury, but of course now I'm in the temple, and I still don't want to miss that kind of luxury that I can take shower. And that is cold water, is touched like ice. Okay, that's fine. I know how to deal with that. Now, actually, I do know how to deal with that. That's fine. I want to say the story is that at night, imagine, at night, it will be very tremendously cold. They have no heater, no furnace, no nothing. So, and then also they forget to give me the blanket.
They have to meditate.
You are right. What I do is that I was like, with my robe, this is as a blanket, you just cover it, so cold. And then you wake up and you cannot sleep and you just sit there. And this is how I do. And I have few ways and do it and generate the heat. And I feel warm and this is how actually I didn't sleep all the day. Because I do sleep 1 hour like that, but because the coldness wake me up and then I just sit there. And I stay there between 3 nights, maybe 4 nights, 3 nights. I'm sure at least 3 nights. And I stay there time. Normally the monk, we are very normal, just treat you the same way in a monk. And he saw me every time when he wake up, I was just doing meditation. Oh, he thought I'm the Greek master of meditation. I told you that story already. And they were so honor me. Oh, suddenly everybody so respect me, And I feel uneasy because I knew the reason is not that I really Greek master of meditation or what, but because I was so cold. I have to maintain my body. And other thing is so funny, I don't know why in those days, I didn't dare to open a mouth and say I was so cold. I just accept it. Sometimes that's a problem of the way you train. The way we train, we accept everything. And then we become like a kind, I'm sure now you can, if you see some other Theravada monk, I don't want to mention the name, it somehow is the same. Even though he might know it, but it never become a kind of thing. Can you make this, let's say the room is too hot, do you think you can make an air condition for me? No, it just become partly the way we train. So if it's too hot, okay, maybe so hot, and we just, that's it, we are doing. So it's like, I don't know why he even asked me. And I even amazed myself after many years when I think about it. I didn't even thinking, I may have a right thought, so can I ask them whether they can give me a blanket, But then I look around, maybe they don't have a blanket. I give the answer myself. I never ask. And I never ask. I don't know why. I can only answer it's the way that we train. You have to accept whatever happened to you. So maybe not in a good way or good way, I'm not sure. Anyway, so yeah, you do have to, you can change it by a different method, and then you can produce the heatness. I still believe that, but now I did try last few times. I'm older maybe, I'm not sure. when you're younger, maybe it's much easier, like a fresh thing, you just ignite it, it's open, When you're older, it takes very long, very slow. I believe that. I'm not sure whether it's true. I haven't really tried very much. Nowadays, we have so much rely on the thing, when there's cold or putting clothes, But now actually I start to learn it, put it more off now. When I first time, I start to have a bad habit, of course, in England. I don't care at first. People always care. Oh, you worry or this. And I think, oh yeah, maybe it's true. And I don't want to get sick. Maybe I have to pay a lot of money for medication, and I don't want to do that. So then you start to worry, And then you take that as become a comfort to you. And then you don't look at the inter. You always, little wing, you put it here. Little wing, you put it here. Anyway, okay. I hope that we are not out of subject. Yeah. But no, it's, but in those days we really, and this is how I survive in that type of, actually it's the beginning of the winter, I guess. It's at the end of the fall. Yeah. So, and I knew that there was a monk, a Theravada monk. I don't know where it come from now. He demonstrated something very interesting. I mean, that one was a Samirara. And he talked to us, say, very important for two meditations. And he demonstrated, it's so hot, Sri Lanka, humid, and you can easily sweat. You don't want to demonstrate that. You can sweat easily. And what he demonstrated at night for us is he's sweating. He said, look, I'm sweating. And this is actually is all like internal story, okay? We're not going to tell outside and boasting. But because it's like it encourages you to do meditation. See, I'm sorry. And he said, you can see his smoke, steam, and then the whole rope dry. He said, telephone. Yeah, I did see that myself. Yeah. And actually, that's how I said, what's the trick, Okay. Somebody's a train. Okay. All right. I think we should have a break here because unfortunately I need to go to the restaurant. So we must have a break. And then we are going back to try if you haven't really read it thoroughly, but maybe read again this the non-information. Okay. We're going to talk then. All right. Thank you. Come to this the topic called this non-information.
I lock the door.
That's all right. I don't. No, don't worry about that now. Come on, don't worry about that.
Those people don't run away.
It is called a non-information. But that's. But actually, maybe easily to conclude few things first. In Buddhism, it's very important. Of course, is when someone attend the Nibbana, right, or somebody have the right view. Basically mean have to gain the wisdom, attend the Nibbana, or at least the practice come to a very high level. And the level sufficient for the person's not going to return back to the normal state, like what we call the Puthujjana, means the ordinary people. And then you always can be move on, practice your Buddhism and until one day either you become Arahant or until one day you become Buddha, right? So one of the factors we also had to mention is, that's always we must remember that something, the basic teaching called the Noble Eightfold Path, right? Anyone? Noble Eightfold Path? I say? Ba Zhen Dao, yeah. Okay, the Noble Eightfold Path, anyone can recite what are these? Right speech. Wow. Not like okay. Maybe. Okay, I'm not going to recite that because I presume you know, okay? But my question is here. In this Noble Eightfold Path, which one is belong to the body? That's for the speech. Huh?
Right action.
Huh? 正业. That means the right actions. Right action, you could say. It didn't say the right body action. That's a Sarvastivada way of thinking. Right action and? Huh? No, that is not for the body. That is intention. Of course, it's for the mind. Which one is for the body? What? Livelihood. Okay. In Chinese, is right livelihood and then right action. So in Chinese, the right action is mean 正业. Livelihood means 正命. Okay. 生命的命. Okay. So and these two are belong to the bodily. And which one is belong to the verbal? Right speech. Any other? No, that's it. Okay, so then it's very clear for you, besides these two, and then the rest will be the mental, right? Now, you always have to solve this problem in Abhidharma also. So even though, I'm sure, like, especially if you study Theravada Abhidharma, so it's, you talk about how many types of mind and that, but how about these three things? where do you put it? Because you know very clearly they are not belong to the mind, but they belong to the body, right? And one is belong to the speech. Okay, I suspect actually that's one of the reasons, because that certainly is clear in this so-called non-information matter. Because if this is noble eightfold path here, you have something belong to speech and the matter, then you must have something belong to the matter for the noble eightfold path to sustain there, right? Okay, that's why. That's one of the reasons we need to understand. When you understand the non-information or non-informative, depending on how to translate, Abhidharmavatara, the word, okay, 无表业, 无表示. So you have to understand that mean it's a topic always with regard to the right action and right livelihood, and then also because why we put the speech there? Because according to Sarvasti Abhidharma, the number 11 derived matter called the Abhidharmavatara or non-information included the speech. Okay, but if it not included the speech, but anything that is not, but they still belong to material, because speech is understood as a material, right? I'm sure you know why also. Remember when we say, anyway, when you look at the sound, even hearing the sound is out, it's actually material. Anyway, that's another question. Important you know, first understand the non-information being understood actually, why they have to talk about non-information. One reason is because the three factors should be included in the Dhamma. Okay.
Non-information, right? It's related to right action, right livelihood, and right speech.
Yes. Okay. Then.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but okay. Of course, if you look at the Theravada Abhidharma, these three are included as mental factors. Okay, but if you to the Sarvastivada school look at it, very strange. They are body. How can it be the mental factor? Okay, of course, there's an argument, right? All right. Okay. Now that's the one reason must understand the Abhidharmavatara. Oh, sorry. No, you know the term now. Abhidharmavatara is short term. So non-information 无表示, okay, it's actually has highly related to that also. In other words, the topic circle about this non-information is always the circle about the right. Now we talk about the noble eightfold path first. These three, two bodily, one verbal. This is very clear. If I, as a monk, is called I have the right livelihood, right? And if the people working as a murderer, okay, doesn't have the right livelihood, right? And then also when you say that, and also among who, if I speak nicely, that means I have the right action, right? Or I maybe walk nicely, I was sitting nicely, and I drink my tea the way I do it nicely. Okay, that's right action, right? Those things you can see. Can you? Mm-hmm. You can see. So that's why it's a rupa, it's a form, okay? It's a matter, you can see. And then if I speak something like, stupid, you, why are you sitting here, right? You also can hear, right? And but however, if I thinking, all this stupid person sitting here, you don't know, right? So I have a wrong intention and wrong thought, the miccha sankappa, okay? Not the samma sankappa, the wrong thought that all these stupid people.
But we know our conscious body language, 70% we can read it. We don't know it, we can read it.
No, that's another question. We must understand now we're talking about material. Why do you want to put this material here? It's because you cannot see it, right? My thought. So, but you can see my word. I mean, you can hear, sorry. I mean, in the language, I mean, you can see, in the see here, I mean, you could know it, okay? You could hear that my word, a stupid person, or you're nice people, you all have the wholesome karma, that's why you'll be here, right? You can hear that. So those three, actually, this action, this speech, and my livelihood, and my speech, and then as well as my action, you could observe, you could see it. So it's the rupa, okay? And this rupa, but you cannot say it's the, of course, it's also based on what? You can see me, you can hear the voice, my verbal, and you also can see my action, what I'm doing. So all this rupa, of course, is the, what we call, let me say, it's also produced by the four great elements, right? It's not by the mind. Directly, if you want to categorize it, it's not from the mind. Okay. Now that's the first thing we must understand. That's why the non-information is being introduced in the Sarvastivada. Okay. You might have many questions as I say. The more you learn, and when you finish the end, we can discuss many things in any way. But first, learn this basic thing first. Okay. Now, and then also, you might be saying, another thing that, but your action actually is from your mind, right? Mm-hmm. Your action is from your mind. And, but now, firstly, when I say you could see it, so you could see it means, in Chinese means 表, or something you could see it. So sure, you can see it. However, you could, it's vinyapti, means you could kind of become a perception to you. You can, vinyapti is not perception only, how to say. You could cognize it, okay? You could cognize it. You could cognize this tracing of me. Now, but then also, but you have to also understand in Sarvastivada Abhidharma, our intention, now we know the term or from a sutra, that the Buddha say, Jedanaham bhikkhave, right? Karma vadami. I mean, means, bhikkhu, what we call the karma is our intention, jedana, right? Our jedana. So then the jeda itva, kayena, blah, 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 vajena, and then there's then yoga kamani, I think, something like that. I think I remember right, yeah. So suddenly there's a jeda itva. So now, in other words, to Sarvastivada understands different from Theravada. I don't want to say Theravada now, forget it. Now, in the Sarva, it would say, you see, it say that, the intention is the karma. Having intended, okay? So, through the bodily and the speech and or the mentally, so that's how you act with the karma, right?
So, the intention produces the karma or is the karma?
According to the Theravada, the intention is the producer of the karma. But then now this is interesting. In Sarvastivada say no. Sarvastivada say because it say jeda yitva, having intended. Okay.
It's karma.
So
just the
the intention itself would not produce karma, but it's having intended itself is produced karma. Okay. You get it now?
So like contemplation of the act.
Now,
Yes.
there are two phases, kind of like the first phase is that's nice, right? I saw the color and I like it, right? I think I want it, That idea comes, that means that intended that with the desire, whatever.
Contact, right?
No. I see my mind now. So you didn't see, you see? No, I like it, right? But then that I like it in Theravada, that itself is karma. But in the Sarvastivada, I like it, but that the like it had to fulfill, had to be complete. The intention of like it had to be completed.
To become actually karmic force.
So,
I
yeah.
see. Okay. Oh, so you have to complete the actual intention
So.
through action to actually complete it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
So it's 2 stages.
Yeah, there's 2 stages there. Okay, right.
How would you complete it? You like it, and
You buy it,
you buy it, you take
or you
it.
you cling to it.
Is that
I want it.
You might take it, you might not take it, it's karma still.
okay? It's just so the intention.
In a subtle, in a very microscopic, subtle way, it's just not saying that because I have the intention is karma. It is because you having the intention, having intended is a karma.
Right.
Having
the
the
fact that
intention is
you-
already karma.
No.
For the Theravada, but not for the Sarvastivada.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, now remember the Sarvastivada.
Okay, let's remember Sarvastivada. Okay. It's the completion of the intention.
So then, in Chinese, of course, that means you have to always differentiate the 事业 mean the karma, okay, of intention. So because karma here means action, the action of intention, and then 事业 mean the action of having intended. Okay. So that's called jeda yidwa. Okay. In even Pali and Sanskrit they've been defined. Okay. Now anyway, forget about it. Just you just sort of don't have to ask because we haven't really studied the mind. Yes.
One more real life example.
Yeah, one more,
Intended
just
and the
one.
actual intended.
A little.
A little one,
Just an
right? Just a
example.
little more example.
Yeah.
Well, if I hear your voice and I don't want you to be answered, so I don't want to give an example. Like I mean, don't want to say that I don't want to go further, right? I intended not to do that, right? First, I intention that I saw you and then I recognize you're asking. Of course, maybe whatever reason, so I just don't want to answer. That is not fulfilling the karma. But I decided that I'm not fulfilled, I'm intended not to answer, so that is fulfilling the karma. Okay. They have a very subtle there. But that subtleness, of course, it's almost like, if I make especially, when people doing meditation, it's very clear, according to Sarvastivada, say, if I think I should go enter the jhana, but you didn't intend that I have to enter the jhana, it's two different things. Okay? And if you have a thought in meditation, say, I should go into jhana, but that is because it's not intended. You have intention there, but it's not having intended. Okay? According to Sarvastivada. Okay? So if only when you say I should go to jhana, but then no, I have to go to jhana. There's a very subtle there. I really have to go, then you're in the jhana. So because you intended, that's why you are.
Is that similar to volition?
Yeah, it's volition. Volition. I'm talking about volition. Cetana is volition. So thank you for the translation. I usually translate as intention, but the volition. Yeah, the volition has to be having dwa. So through the mind, and then the karma will produce. Okay.
So is that in the first case it's used as a noun, and in the second case it's used as a verb?
It is the jeda yidwa is a verb. It's a present. It's what you call gerund. Yeah. Okay. And I mean, you cannot solve all the questions right away. There's like a kid. Sometimes when you study something at the beginning and then you want to solve all the questions, it's not possible. Even I cannot solve all the questions. I'm saying, but the more sometimes you solve it by many information in the future and your experience. Okay. Anyway, so because of this, but however, but you cannot say when my mind having this not highly intended, my karma is not there. Okay. Karma means action. Okay. You cannot totally claim that when my mind is not totally intended, so then my karma is not there. I mean, my karma here basically means my physical. Let's say, I see it. Okay, and I decide not to answer your question. That relation is there, but actually, the next moment I may shift. Then because you persuade me again, and I decided that I have to implement that I'm not going to. Basically, I'll say it's the same way. The first, when I decided that time, the karma is still there. Okay, you get it now. I mean, you can see my action is there. My action is there. Everything is there. But the second moment, then I decided I should answer. So, but that's like I say that the first moment I didn't intend to answer. The second I answered the question. So there are two moments there, right? Mm-hmm. But still, still the karma is there. Okay. Now, of course, this is a very subtle thing they want to solve. Is then so in other words, we might have many times of intended action, but we not necessarily have fully intended. Okay, but then so that's why they usually. But this is just a simple example. They usually say that's why they say non-information operates without the mind. Okay, there's kind of like the mind here refer to. Of course, because whenever there's a mind operate, they must have a relation. This is down to it's been clearly defined by all the school. But then this one, it's the non-information operates with the mind. Okay, one is without the mind, one is with the mind. For example, with the mind is very clear. For example, when people, and then this is certainly is the strong karma. Okay, and then the strong karma. But they still also is a karma. It's a strong in the term, not say that because they what. They want to say that it is strong in a way because you need to have a stronger mind to push it, okay? Otherwise, like, you see many things, you hear many things, that is always just intended, but never be intended, having intended, okay? Or volitional, or having or volition, I don't know how to say, having volition, yeah. So that's why it been say that you must have a strong kind of mind, and also this is the reason why in the meditation, also, that meditation, of course, is your physical is still there, but then what really operates strong in the karma is your mind, okay? And that's why they divide it into, let's say, when you're in the jhana, in the meditation, that is so-called the non-information operated with the mind, but then the other can be, say, without the mind. Okay, what are these without the mind? That's what we're going to read here. Without the mind is something like, when I have 5 precepts. But when I observe the 5 precepts, of course, at first, when in front of the teacher, I asking the teacher to give me the 5 precepts. And then the teacher say, oh, okay, you intended to have the 5 precepts. And then the teacher give you the 5 precepts, you intended also to receive the 5 precepts, and then you have these 5 precepts. And with these 5 precepts, your body, called this the non-information body, that always people can see you, they should be able to carry. They cannot say, I take this 5 precepts because our jitta, our consciousness, and arise, and then disease, arise and disappear. And then where's our 5 precepts? They arise and disappear, right? Okay. Yeah, I know this is interesting. It's a very different concept. So it says that if you take the 5 precepts, and then you should have the 5 precepts always with you. And that always with you, it don't necessarily always have to be operate with the mind. It can be working without operate with the mind, okay? Like our normal action.
So
Putting it in the back burner.
So that's habitual?
Habitual is a mind. Habitual is a mind, no.
It's putting it in the back burner.
No, you still understand through the mind. This is not the mind. This is the form. This is a matter. Matter. Rupa.
We still didn't form. Actually, right?
And also, and this rupa, you can see it, okay? But this rupa doesn't change. Okay? Of course, that's why Sarvastivada always been attacked, okay? Okay, yes.
People with divine eyes can see the
Yeah,
divine-
I believe that. You can see. That's why the like a Buddha. There's another thing is like the Buddha. They believe that they can see whether how many precepts you still have, how many precepts it doesn't appear. Yeah. Because they should be a kind of karma carry on, and otherwise how can you explain that they can see that the person have a precept or he broke his precept or whether he will and then that kind of carry on consistency should be there.
So it's kind of
Okay.
from an arahant perspective.
Arahant is so big. Don't forget about Arahant now at the moment.
Well, but it's the overall perspective from the Buddha's perspective. Maybe.
Okay, and
I'm saying that this sort of subject comes up because,
yeah, some people maybe have divine eyes.
right?
From divine eyes, they observe this, right? They can see it. And also, I myself also believe that because we have to understand this is, they have a few reasons. One reason is for this, and the other reason is to explain when somebody in a meditation, right? I mean, everybody know, and when you sit in a meditation, say that you have, especially, you say the first jhana may be easier, but even though first jhana is not that clear, but you're in the first jhana, and then you say, it's okay, and especially, they mentioned it. Let's say even if you enter the so-called the mind is not exist, like Wu Xiang Tian. I mean the state like in the fourth jhana there's one of the states. I mean the mind is almost like non-exist there. So and then you can sit there. Maybe they say that 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. I think I did mention this when we teach Visuddhimagga in the past. So I mean there's different traditions. Like in as far as I know, like. In the Chinese or some other books, when they write, I'm not saying the old master, I mean the present, the contemporary master, or like last century, and then they would say, oh, people meditate there for 10 days and without wake up, he's a great master. But actually in Sarasvati, the same as the Theravada, so would not think that is a good thing, because you enter your mind into what we call the thoughtless jhana, thoughtless state. But it doesn't help you much. And then the worst thing, maybe you were born in the heaven, in the thoughtless, even worse. Anyway, so now let's say the people would go to the meditation of thoughtless state, and then they know how to aware and back. How they know the back? Because the mind, if there's no thought, then there's no way that the mind could be appear and let to say, okay, I think I'm done. Enough time, You don't, right? What? And then that's why this kind of non-information is operate there. So the non-information is operate there. So that time, of course, with that mind, it's non-information operate in this part that you make that kind of decision that you will be up, So it's just to explain there was something behind carry this kind of karma, and then they could help you to pull you up that you have a thought and then you're back to the normal state. Okay, that's why it been defined the non-information also as, also as understand that when you talk about the non-information also, without mind, the state of without mind, it is also part of it. Okay. Now, and what I want to say is also, and also this also have solved another questions. The question is like, we know that, like maybe my past life was a monk, for example. Say, okay, my past life maybe was a monk, and when I was a monk, I observed, say, 227, precepts. Maybe on the day I die, I have 20 precepts still there, Say, but it's fine. 20 is not bad, okay. So, and then, accordingly, if I have the ability to see my past life and then real, actually the time when I die, I have only 20% left. What kept it there? It's not in the mind. There's maybe something I could feel, I could know that I have 20, okay. And importantly, and then now this life, when I was born as a baby, I don't have this 20 with me. They're gone, I need almost start again, Yeah, my mind changed because in my past life I have 20 left, 20 left, and then but somehow my mind becomes stronger and have a good virtue there and all these things. But that's another thing I want to say. Even the virtue, how do I know I have good virtue? Okay, do you return from mind? No. So that what does it keep it? It's just this rupa. You could know there's a rupa, and this rupa, that means this matter, have the virtue. Okay. But then it will go on in that life, and then in this life, it will start again. Okay, it will start again. Now, but of course, then what bring up? There's a lot of huge argument. Forget about this for a moment. Okay, they want to solve the problem. The solve one problem is that when someone say, I observe the Vinaya, the precept, the 7th thing here, I'm sure you know, and then they talk about the Samadhi. And when you observe the Vinaya, you have this Vinaya, but when the day you die, the Vinaya, what you have promised to observe this doesn't carry next life. Because why they don't carry next life? Consciousness can carry, but this don't carry because it is Rupa, okay? Rupa don't carry, okay, all right. And one more, I think I need to say. And you look at page 3, okay? The rest you can look at it, and then you have question you can ask next time, okay? We have 15, okay. And then this kind of the non-information, it never be neutral, okay? Never. Either good or bad, okay? Always either wholesome or unwholesome, okay? It's not neutral. It's not like intermediate for what? It is either it is kusala or akusala. Either it's good or bad. And look at the page 3. There's a page 3, right? There's a chart there, okay? Look at the chart, and actually I forgot to translate the English. Sorry, it's fine, sorry. The chart here, page 3, on the handouts, I give it to you. If you don't have a handout here, 其实你可以 share 的，我那个笔给你，我你可能不懂，寄给他们，他们有。Okay, page 3 there. So you can look, touch it. Okay, look at this. Look at this 4 thing first. Akusala karma, and this you don't know, mean unwholesome karma. Okay, And then you have kusala and avyakruta karma, mean the wholesome karma, and then so-called is the neutral karma. Okay, you know, in the Sarvastivada, the neutral refer to thing. Okay, normally neutral refer to like Arahant and Buddha is a neutral. Okay, okay, like Arahant and the Buddha will refer to the neutral. Okay, and because whatever they do, either mentally or physically, they will not produce fruit again, karma again. They will not have the resultant fruit again. Okay, they will not produce fruit again. So, and vinyapti is mean what we call a non-information. Okay, and the vinyapti mean information. Okay.
So what's vinyati?
Information.
For just information.
Yeah, the opposite meaning. Okay. So if you look at basically, we look at avinyapti first. Avinyapti and vinyapti, the difference is that, okay, avinyapti, of course, it's something that's designated. Okay, maybe easier to say this way. Look at the back to the avinyapti, now means the non-information. You look at, in the karma dhatu, that means actually it exists in all these desire room, the desire room, you know, yujie, desire room. It's always exists in the desire room. Like as a human, or of the heavens of Dusita, heavens of the Jatu Rajaga, I mean the four guardians heavens and so and so. There are 6 of them, including Earth as 7. 7 kind of living, existential, desire realm, you know.
It always exists in desire.
But look at it. When you people in a meditation, when you're in the first jhana, or when they're in the intermediate jhana, so either in the first jhana or in the intermediate jhana, so it still exists too, right? Okay, right. But then when you compare that, the third one, look at it. But in the second jhana up to the fourth jhana, it still exists, but the information doesn't exist. But the non-information exists. Okay. Of course, because this is belong to the form body, it's a matter. In the jhana or in the body, basically in the body, when people in the body, basically mean if somebody in the room of those heavens without material, immaterial rooms, the planets, or so of course they are, our vinyapti is never be there. Okay, the non-information never be there. Yeah. Well,
non-information is still rupa, right?
It is a rupa.
Okay. I just want to make
It is
sure.
a rupa. Okay. The vinyapti, what we call the formation, okay, because you can be informed, actually information may be informed, so it can be, we never define as a rupa, but it's just a kind of being informed. But you know the reason is why, because in other words, they want to say that our vinyapti not necessarily just go with the vichara, vitaka and vichara, okay, because I think those who learn Abhidharma maybe know easier. Because the problem is that we always think that we want to consider this. I put this chart because
Vichara is
no. Vitaka, vichara means vitaka is examine. No, vichara is examine. Vitaka is the, how to translate?
Vitaka is the initial
mind,
and then the other one is sustain.
Exam.
No,
sometimes we
sustain application.
no, 我知道 Chinese. I'm saying the English. Sometimes we translate as the exam mind. The second one, first one maybe initial mind. It's fine. In Chinese, 就损跟事嘛，损跟事. So and these two, because you know that in the first jhana and according to the Sarvastivada, the first jhana and the intermediate jhana, especially in the first jhana and intermediate jhana, these two still exist. Okay, but in the third jhana, in the second jhana, then the vitaka, that means the initial mind and the exam mind goes away. So, and that's why they are not exist. So that's because when you say, I intended to tell you, I wanted to express something, that always have the vitakka and vichara, okay? Must have initiate and then the examine mind. Well, how you understand vitakka vichara, maybe easier to say a little bit. Like when I look at the pictures, right? When my eye contact with the pictures, that's you are going to learn Saravasti. That's similar to Pali actually. When my eye contact to the pictures, though, I must have the initial and examine mind. The initial is almost like I see something, I have contact with something, but the examine mind means I keep this contact continue. Okay, so that's called vitakka and vichara. Understand?
Sustained application, or sometimes it's translated as evaluation.
Yeah, it's evaluation. But I mean that's
sustained application. I think is good.
Yeah, sustained and application. Okay, maybe that's a sustained application. So and but then when you're in the third jhana, these two factors will be moved away. Okay. Now this chart is just want to show you that from the second jhana, the third jhana, the fourth jhana, that the so-called the expression, the information still exists, but that you need to explain. That should be something still there, as I say, carry on. That is mean, according to Saravastivada, that is non-information still carry on. Okay, and it's a rupa. Okay. In other words, even people, the beings born in there, they might be lack of the vitakka and vichara. I don't know, not necessarily they don't, but the mental most of the time they don't. I mean, I think that's last time. Anyway. Most of the time, the mental, they don't have that kind of defilements like vitakka vichara. But like say the second jhana and the third jhana heavens. So, but then they still have a physical body, okay? And then this physical body, they still have a certain thing carry on. That's called non-information, okay? What is another point, salient point? I think in the notes, I also I give you on the page second, you can go back and read it, okay? So firstly, Vasubandhu, how we define this, they are just a detail. You don't necessarily have to remember it, but just remember what I just mentioned, few main point. But the detail is how the Vasubandhu define this. However, actually, I think Sanghabhadra really disagree with it. The reason actually disagree with the Vasubandhu is he think that Vasubandhu somehow he carry a kind of I think the Vasubandhu kind of believe that this kind of continuously, it's not from the start, from the earlier moment it continues. It only had to wait the next moment to be continuous, and that's why he was refuting. So in other words, when I take the precepts, okay. When I have a precepts, the moment that when I have the precepts, I had to wait for the next moment to have a precepts. But because of Saravastivada, when you think I have a precept, then you have a precept, okay? Because that exists, right? You don't have to think I have the precepts, and then I think that I have the precepts, so then you have a precepts, okay? They don't that. So when you think, then in other words, that it's the very fact that when you think you have a precept, and then when I say this means that when you've been given a precept, when you think that you got a precept and you got a precept, you don't have to see it like. In other words, you don't always have to think that it have to be operate with the mind. Okay, it can be operate within that rupa itself. Okay, yeah. Okay. So, and that's actually why Sanghabhadra was disagree with, and then Sanghabhadra also maybe have these are very small subtle differences. You don't necessarily have to know, but just for information. And how Sanghabhadra think as Zhongxian and keep it this more information, and then you can compare a little bit whether the Sanghabhadra definition is it any different from what we are learning in the text Abhidharmavatara. Okay. But now look at it. We'll look back this Abhidharmavatara to conclude it. Okay, and the other notes you can look at it. Okay, I type it. I never because I always did in the last moment always. So and then maybe the English is some wrong or whatever. Just fine. Ignore it. But your suggestion will be welcome. So the monox there is just to tell you why this non-information, is so important and why this term been invented. I did on the monox there. You can look at it. Okay, look at this. He say the Abhidharmavatara say on page 2, from a specific formation, mind and Greek elements there arise a continuous series of wholesome or unwholesome matter which is non-accumulative. In other words, mean they are non-accumulative. But and which persists in the state of the sleep, wakefulness, distracted or non-distracted thought or non-mind. This is the characteristic of the non-information. Okay. Now you have a better understanding now. I don't mean you understand everything, but right. Okay. It's almost like there's a separate entity, almost like that. But I use the wrong word. But that's it's very careful always. It's almost like you have a separate kind of entity, that always persists there. Okay. So even in your sleep, a wakeful or distracted and non-distracted thought. Okay, right. So they solve this problem. It's solved like when even people sleeping. Okay, not only having sleeping, but the mind supposedly is almost like drowsiness. Okay, drawn, because Sarvasivada don't explain as a Theravada way. So that's why they always discussed when somebody sleep and what's the difference between somebody sleep and somebody when they feel drowsiness. Okay, then there's another topic there, but that's topic with the mind. But you want to explain that when somebody sleep there, you cannot say that sleep there's no karma going on. That is the mind even not functioning strongly, because I say that if it operate with the mind, it have a strong mind. So the mind is not operate strongly, so that's why the non-information kind of material still keep on. Okay. There's something for the awake. Okay,
So
good.
it's a little related to kind of what with modern science we talk about a little bit of the conscious and unconscious. Like the unconscious is 24/7 hours active. Doesn't matter what's going on. It's always working.
Yeah, the activeness itself is what? According to, if you want to explain that, the non-conscious active itself is what? According to Sarvasivada, that itself is a non-information. Okay. Yeah.
So
Yes.
Just another way.
That's why I use the term. So they invented the term for that. Okay.
So it's kind of using
So
more modern.
yes.
At the end there it says non-mind. Does that mean non-mindfulness?
No. The non-mind means like you might be lost your mind, and also because your meditation, you are on the state of the mind is almost like complete ceased, even including the Nirodha Samabhati. It means the cessation of the thought and the feelings and the thought. In other words, you almost cease the mind, and also including with the people when they meditate in the four jhana. In four jhana, there are a few of things. One of the things is that the people enter. Well, there's a discussion between 3 or 4 jhana, but anyway, because they're in between. Anyway, it's very hard to tell you. Generally, mean people meditate, they can go into another stage that the mind is not functioning so well, so that they can sit like few days. And that, of course, in Buddhism, they usually not suggested and discuss that and discourage you to do that. But I think in India, like the sadhu, the Indian, in Buddhist concept, in the heretic teachings, and they do encourage, like, they would demonstrate they can do that. So you can bury them for 10 days, even they don't breath. And after 10 days, you unearth it, they're still alive, They can spend that. But in Buddhism, don't encourage you to do that. They say waste your time just to show the supernatural power for the gain of the fame and all. Anyway, that's a different concept. So that's why Buddhism,
Level of non-mind.
that's called a level of non-mind. And that non-mind, if it is still, there should be something exists because the mind doesn't work, right?
It's non-information because it still matters.
No, that's why non-information should be there.
Yeah.
And that's a matter, yeah.
You
And
see,
that's
I
why.
think the
Yeah.
understanding of the information and non-information
Mm.
should be reversed, because for some reason when I read it, it seems as though information should be on top when it's explained, and then non-information.
No, it's true, but don't forget the information here. The information is because information always have to go to the vitaka and vichara. That's a problem. Because that's how the very basic Buddhist teaching know that when there's something being informed, it has to be always go with because certainly has highly to do with the meditation theory. that you must have the, I forgot the translation, you know, that the
Initial application.
the initial application and sustained application, they should be there, you know. But then when you're in the second jhana, everybody know the formula, and not only just formula, like a practice, they know the easy way to check whether you're in the second jhana, you know, it's because this two is not there. So, and then you cannot say that it's still in that kind of stage, because when your mind is not there, and they're higher than the first jhana, of course, then, and even intermediate jhana, so of course then they have to be not the information, they should be non-information, okay? Okay, they put that way already. Okay, great. Our class start to here, come to here, but if you have questions, you're welcome to ask and send me the email. And also, don't expect the answer is always there, because as I say, Abhidharma is a huge subject, but I will try. But then, yes, the next homework, you know, now we can move to. Don't worry that you don't think this we're done. You never done, because later you still have to talk about this thing. Okay, you just have to have these basic teachings. Yeah. Yeah. And then the next we are going to read. Actually, I would suggest that. Yeah, because other thing is okay. We can read this characteristic of the Dharma. Okay, I think that would be. I mean, it was not the main thing you need to read, because we are going to talk that. So it might be best to start with page 79 only to read the category of the sensation. Okay. And then and also read the category of ideation. Okay. Okay. Good. Yeah. In other words, next week we are going to talk a little bit what mean by the characteristic of the Dharma. We did say that already, but we are going to mention a little bit. What are they? And then what is the characteristic we have to understand? And then what is mean by the feelings, and what does it mean by the thought and the perception? Sorry, the perception. Okay, because another one, the page 81, samskara, is very complicated. So we must leave it to one more topic, another topic after next week. Okay, good. We do transfer merit, and thanks for coming. Yeah.
Yung?
愿此上课功德回向我等与众生共成佛道。萨
嘟萨嘟萨嘟。
One about the teacher.
Well, thank you so much. Okay, sure, thanks.